Just to talk football with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Heard you've been real busy.
It's been kind of crazy. So,
great.
but all good.
All right, good to see
So,
you.
all right, you too. Take care.
I did too after I got just rest a while and then I fell asleep.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, we got to get the car back to Chicago by 5, so we only have a few minutes, but we just wanted to stop by and
I'm glad you did.
I wanted to just give the boys a chance for you to tell just a couple of stories. You know, they never got to meet their grandfather and Jerry and my dad. You know, so I wanted you to tell them a couple things, like the time when you guys climbed in, snuck in over the fence, and he got. You just share. Go ahead. Tell us some stories about about your brother Jerry,
we were
my
both
father.
young, but he was probably only about 7 years old, and he wanted to go to the football game. Well, we were pretty close because there was 4 years between us, but before me and anyhow.
You tell all you want. Tell all you want.
So we get to the Packer game and.
This was at City Stadium, right?
At City Stadium.
Yep.
Before they even thought of building
Right.
Lambeau,
Right.
and before they fixed up City Stadium too.
Right.
Then it was the old, just the east. It was the high school field.
Right.
So there was some professional football played on that field, and some darn good football. That's when. If you ever hear of Don Hudson?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had the Hudson Center.
Right.
I saw Don Hudson race one of our halfbacks, Johnny Blood.
Yeah. Remember him?
Well, they advertised it. It was open to the public.
Right. So tell us how you and Jerry climbed in and.
Well, anyhow, the first game, it was a big game, and we got there, and there was a whole pile of guys, older a little bit, by 14, anyhow, that's old. And they were helping younger boys, like, me
We'll see
too.
you guys.
We'll see you.
See you later.
And they would just, suddenly you put your foot in, and they,
Boost you up over
and you got up that high, and they expected you'd
to pull yourself over.
Pull yourself over, drop down, and after a while they started putting guards. But they didn't bother you much. They just look at you.
And then you just stay in the end zone there, out of the way,
Yeah.
right?
Then after we got over, we made our way down and.
Didn't you say he cut himself?
He did. Yeah, he's up on the fence, Jerry, and he went to pull him down, and he hit a nail or something, and it just gave him a small cut, but there was blood, and the cop that pulled at him, he took me, and he took me a little roughly on the back, and I said, "Watch it." And he said, "We got a tough one." So we get. I just takes Jerry to a guy that's got Band-Aids, and they put a Band-Aid on his finger, and they said, "Well, there's no place to put you." And I think he felt bad that he had done that to him. Mm-hmm. And he knew I was just a smart mouth, but he didn't. He probably had kids of his own.
He probably went easy on you because of Jerry, because he was younger and thought,
Yeah, he knew I. Well, anyhow, so we go and lay in the end zone, which they allowed. After a while, they said, "Oh no," because then they're afraid that maybe. And anyhow, the really exciting play was. We were ahead, I think, 10 or something. Anyhow, Don Hudson come flying down, and he was fast. And he just had a step and a half on, and he caught the pass over his shoulder at about the 8-yard line, and ran into the end zone, and then said, "Whoa!"
Because of the
You
kid.
guys better watch out. He said, I'll run right over you. He was a very congenial guy.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, we just had a very good time. And he and I went to, I won't say quite a few, but 6, 7, 8 football games together. They started, again, tightening up their security a little bit. And anyhow, Jerry was just one heck of a guy. He gave my parents. Well, he was the last one born. My dad, when my mother told him he said, oh, "Not again." He was the 13th child, and after he was growing, he said, "Oh, geez, I don't think I was even wanted."
I know that feeling.
But he took it as and he was a pretty good kid growing up. But once he got out of junior high, he started hanging around with guys maybe a year older, and there were a couple of them that were already. Well, everybody smoked. He smoked. He quit. He didn't smoke after he met your mother, I think.
Right.
And anyhow, what was the?
He kind of got in with the wrong crowd for a little bit.
He did. They weren't terrible kids, but they got in trouble. And one of a guy named Joe Bacon, and Jerry liked him a lot, but Joe was again another year too old, and he was out. Thankfully, Jerry wasn't along. That's when Joe was probably about 50, and it didn't matter as far as driving because they were going to steal a car, and so what? Anyhow, bad accident that night, and 2, including Joe, was killed.
Oh, wow.
And Jerry, it affected him. Just a good friend. Jerry, your dad.
My dad, their grandfather, yeah.
He loved people, and when he was killed, well, he married a wonderful,
Wanda, yeah.
Wanda, and come on, my Alzheimer's is getting worse and worse.
Yeah, you're probably just going to say a lot of people. It affected a lot of people when he...
It did affect a lot of people, and they had a small church. They couldn't bury him for just about 3 days because they had church, 2 services, one at like 7:30, the other at 9, and there were half of them or more wanted to see Jerry Morgan, and so they had mass the next day too, and I just said, "Well, Father, he said, looks like you did a good job, and that you people." He says, "Harry, your brother could have asked anything from anyone in town because he helped everyone." Well, what he was doing when we lost him, Wanda was home with you and your two sisters.
We were at school, actually. He was out cutting wood, but they know that story. Tell us some things like how we get the banners, the championship banners.
Oh, yeah.
That.
After there was one hanging up here for years. I don't know if that's the one I gave you.
Maybe. You did give us one.
And I had one in the basement. He was a pretty good athlete. Matter of fact, they had some injuries, and they said, "Hey, Morgan," and they talked him into coming out, and he was tall for his age. He grew to be about your size. I'd say, no, you're taller, but your size.
Okay.
Well, anyhow, I wasn't at it, but he had pictures of it. He caught a pass, so I don't think he scored the touchdown, but made a nice first down he just, I thought, wow, that's great, Jerry, because he was, as a kid, he's skinny. And, well,
But after the championship game, you guys were walking downtown or something, or he just was
yeah. And
going downtown climbing
he
buildings?
well, I mentioned to him, I said, you know, Jerry, what I really would have liked to have gotten is one of those, he said, you mean those flags that are, because they had them all around every light pole from buildings. The ones on light poles were too easy to get.
Yeah.
They were gone. He climbed up near to the top of a one-story building. Well, anyhow, he got up there, and he got 3 flags, 3 or 4. And he said, well, one is I'm putting away for myself. And he says, here, Harry, here's one for you and one for Tony.
Because he was living here at that time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was still in high school.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, he enjoyed life. And then he met Wanda, and boy, that was it. He really fell for your grandmother. One fine-looking babe, and us Morgan all went for good-looking babe. And he said, Harry, I think I maybe met the one. And I think by that time well, of course I was 4 years older, and I had met my girl at the, well, it don't matter. But I was there with 5 friends and myself. And
He wanted to collect them just for all the relatives in town, right?
yeah. So, so he got one. Anyhow, well, I won't go into that.
That's all right. Well, anything else about him that you can think of?
Just
or want to
that
say?
he was kind and he loved people and he was a pretty good athlete. He could hit he's stronger than he looked. Well, then he put on some weight when he got in high school, so he was pretty good shape. And again, just some people, he'd have made a good politician because they would have Jerry run well, and he'd have to tell him no, just working for him.
Yeah. Just what I knew is he was just really helpful. He always wanted to help people and
yeah. Well, the point so I'm going with this girl, and one morning I get up and he says, it was a Sunday morning, he said, I thought you and Sue were pretty tight. He says, we are. He says, well, you couldn't have told it by last night. I'm like, what the hell do you mean? He says, well, I saw her with a guy, and they were dancing and dancing and dancing. He said, in fact, Harry, she didn't even dance with anyone else. Well, I had just a few days before, I got what sometimes single guys. I was single a long time. I was 28 when I married Sue, and she was only 18, 10 years older. And I said, well, I did tell her that maybe she should see other guys.
Ooh.
But I wasn't thinking she'd do it the next night. And I called her as soon as my brother left the house. I wanted to be alone.
Yeah.
And well, she said hi as soon as she recognized. Hi, honey. Honey, I said. What were you doing last night? She said, well, just like you told me. She had seen Jerry. She
Yeah.
acted like she didn't.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I went out to the night spot. And I said, yeah, and you met a guy. She said, I knew him since I was back in Lily, the little town she grew up in. And she said, and he's always liked me. And I can't help that, you know. And I said, well, are you doing anything tonight? I was sarcastic now. And she said, no, I'm not. But, you know, I don't know if you're in that kind of mood if we should even go out. Oh, I says, I think we should. Well, we did, and that was it. I dated her, and I asked her to marry maybe 6 weeks later.
And you told her no more seeing other guys?
Oh, no, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, and she said, and you're not going to see any girls either, are you? Well, I hadn't been anyhow.
Yeah.
So, point is,
So Jerry helped you. He helped you
yeah,
make the decision.
I said, Jerry, maybe she'd have got away from you. He says, well, I think she had her eyes on you and would have given you another shot, no matter what. But if any help I could be, so anyhow, he was a prince of a young man, and any blood you get from him is as good, and I think you're going to honor it as you have with your father. He looks a little like Jerry. He does more. Well, you're once removed, so.
Yeah,
But anyhow, it
makes
was.
sense.
It was
All
just-
right. Well, are we?
I was lucky to have him.
Yeah, he's a
So
good brother.
he was a wonderful brother. It's because we were so. My brother Tony had moved. Well, anyhow, we just. I enjoyed having him with me the time I did. And Wanda was a lucky girl, but he was a lucky guy too, because she drew the personality out of him. And she could do that. Wanda was she was a fine lady. She sent me a check once for about $50. And I said, call me. That's when you guys were in Oregon. I
Uh huh. Yeah.
She said, what's that for, the check you sent me? I said, well, you sent me, or you sent in something to the Press Gazette. I'm not sure, except they said it was money. They did it once a year. I put in people that had money coming and probably never even knew it.
Oh, right.
And she always went through a paper very, very closely. She read everything. And she said, and your name was in it. So all you got to do is call them and tell them that who you are. And I did, and they came out by me and just looked at I got like 60 bucks, I think
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah. Just unclaimed
Yeah.
money gets sent
So I
to the-
sent her a $10 bill. And she,
for
that-
finder's fee, huh?
Finder's fee, yeah. Well, if it was 60, I got 50, she got 10.
Right.
She might have kidded me, because she had a good sense of humor. She says,
Yeah.
well, don't you think I should have got 20%?
Yeah.
So,
Well, she did work in numbers. She was, when she did work a little,
yeah.
I
Well,
think.
she was a smart lady. She really was.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I think I met the guy. Is he still gone? Is he?
Yeah, he's still there, but
Steve.
yeah.
Okay, so he's
Well,
still,
Uncle Harry, it's we do got to run, but
I appreciate it.
I am really glad we had a chance just to stop by again, and
Well, and I hope that you will be back. I plan on living long enough till we win the Super Bowl.
okay, all right.
So I'm
That's-
just not leaving.
Well, hopefully it's going to be longer than that because I plan on winning it this year.
Well, then we may as well go for 2 or 3.
Yeah, all right,
He needs 2 or 3 to catch up with
all right.
those other guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Good to see you again, Uncle Harry.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I'll get the last hug in here. Love you, Uncle Harry. I just so glad that you were
Yeah, well,
involved in my life.
I'll take a hug out of you too, pal.
Yeah.
You guys take care of mom and dad and everybody else in Oregon.
All right. Well,
You don't live in Oregon now.
We do. We
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
We're headed back right now. Yep.
Now, that's about
We're gonna drive down to Chicago and then fly back.
a flyback to it. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I keep thinking there's an Oregon, Wisconsin too.
There is.
Oh, yeah.
There is, but this is West
that-
Coast, Lincoln City, Oregon.
Yeah. Well, you guys just take care.
You too.
You too, Harry.
Love you, Uncle Harry.
Love you. Love all of you. You're gonna